Theresa, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Carol.
I've just had a few questions to ask you. My first question was, what were your goals when you first joined the French conversation class?
Well, I had just I was preparing to move to France, and I've been studying French for a long time. But my goals were firstly to become more confident and comfortable speaking because I was going to be doing it in daily life. And also, I anticipated that being away from home, I would probably feel a little more isolated, and I wanted to have that group experience and see people that I got to know over weeks, every week.
Yes, I'd not thought about the aspect of the isolation as well. That's a really good point. Yeah. And how do you find the conversation class?
Oh, yeah, it's great. It's different every week because we talk about different things. I like it because I can't plan for what I'm going to say because I don't know what you're going to ask or what topics are going to come up. I have other conversation classes I do where there's homework and we prepare, but in this atmosphere, it gives me the ability to think on my feet, which is what I have to do in life living in France. And I like seeing and meeting the other people and hearing about their lives.
Yes, we've got Michael who's also in France, and it's good to see how he's getting on. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah. What have you been able to achieve since joining the class?
I think the biggest thing for me is that I've been able to recognize some of the bad habits I've gotten into and some of the mistakes I consistently make. And I wasn't able to do that in other classes because in your conversation class, you're constantly transcribing what we're saying. We can see what we're saying, and you stop us in the middle to correct something. And in the past, I've been in group classes either in person or online, and that process doesn't happen. So I've been able to recognize things that over the last 25 years have not really been consistently corrected in my French. Um, Also, I find that the atmosphere of the class helps me get away from kind of a classical or staid way of speaking and to see different ways to say something and things that are more colloquial or more relaxed, more normal usage. So that's really helpful as well.
Okay. And what's the main reason you would recommend my French conversation class to other students?
Well, um, I think it's because the main reason would be you get to see and hear and see written and also get a transcript later to reread what you said, what wasn't correct, whether it's pronunciation or grammar or just colloquial use. I think that's by far, for me, that was different than any other class that I ever taken and is the most valuable aspect, I think, of the class. But I also wouldn't give short shrift to the social aspect, especially for somebody moving to France. And, it's a little hard to make friends, especially when you're setting up house and you're new. So it does give you the opportunity to be with other people who are interested in the language. Um, I think that right now in the group, as it is recently, um, there's no one else right now who I think lives in the United States. So I'm conversing with people who live in the UK or live in France, and that's really interesting. That the social aspect, I think, is almost equally important as the language.
That's very interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.